Let's just say I had kids with a white woman.
Mm-hmm.
They could not enroll in Umar's school.
But here's the thing, Vlad. The school was never going to be done, so you could say anything. You can say it's a school for goddamn leprechauns. You know, you can say anything.
On Sunday, I clean the toilets in the future school for our children, and on Sunday, you worship white Christ. Who should be talked about, me or you? Not all my Christians worship white Christ, though. I'm just being sarcastic. Some of my Christian family recognize that Christ was an African. See, they got paint on the toilet. One of my paint day people got paint on the toilet, brand new toilets. They got paint on the toilet, didn't even wipe it off. Same thing in the other toilet. I don't mind cleaning. I have no problem cleaning, brothers and sisters.
Man, let me be honest. I've tried to stay quiet about this, but it's really starting to get under my skin. Dr. Umar, man, I used to watch his videos and just laugh. I thought the whole thing was a performance. I figured he was simply profiting from this exaggerated pro-black, pan-African image he built online. His opinions were always extreme. Some people called him racist, others found him ridiculous. To me, it was just entertainment. But the more I looked into it, the clearer it became that Dr. Umar might actually be one of the most skilled manipulators out there. He's managed to create a consistent stream of income entirely from an idea, almost like a startup where people invest their money and the founders eventually disappear. That's essentially what's going on here, just adjusted for the digital age. Now, let's talk about FDMG. For years, he's been saying FDMG this, FDMG that. It's been his main focus for nearly a decade. Dr. Umar has long claimed he's raising money to build a school for Black children, a place for education, cultural awareness, and empowerment. The vision sounds admirable. For 10 years, people have donated, believing in the mission. But now things are beginning to crumble because people are realizing the money may not be used as promised. It appears that most of the funds are being spent elsewhere, while the school, after all this time, still hasn't opened. He's posted numerous videos from half-finished rooms and incomplete bathrooms, insisting that the school is almost ready. But in reality, it's far from it. Recently, he released another video claiming that everyone is working against him and trying to stop a Black man from succeeding. It's disheartening to watch because millions have already been donated, yet the doors remain closed. Honestly, I doubt the school will ever open. Lately, he's been giving interviews, attempting to rebuild his reputation and attract new supporters, likely preparing for another round of fundraising. When asked directly if he's running a scam, he always has an answer ready. But after 10 years and no visible results, people are starting to realize the truth on their own.
No donors have ever said that. Only jealous YouTubian struggle streamers. We've already been audited by the IRS. So if I was a scammer, I think it would be known by now. And what's interesting about that is Donald Trump just came out the other day, and I'm no fan of his, where he said that he's going to issue an executive order against debanking. I didn't know that this was a big deal in America, but banks are debanking people who they don't like.
And that's exactly what happened. The school was close to being taken over, the accounts were frozen, and there wasn't much that could be done to undo it. Channels like Cooking with Frank and Hannibal is Hungry have been talking about this issue for quite some time. When you trace it back, it looks like he fabricated the entire story just to raise money and keep control of the school property. It was never really about opening the school. It was about maintaining ownership of the building. Everything he does revolves around that one property. The school doesn't need to function, it just needs to exist physically so donations continue coming in. Without it, the funding would stop. So in a panic, he crafted a story claiming his accounts were frozen and that the bank was targeting him for doing the Lord's work for the Black community. But realistically, banks don't care about that. While such issues can happen in rare cases, that wasn't the situation here. He created that narrative to generate sympathy and attract more donations, which eventually helped him resolve the issue and keep the building under his name. This pattern has no end. It's going to keep repeating. Dr. Umar has found his audience, and he knows exactly how to keep drawing support from them. Now, as for his current activities, he's been appearing on various platforms. One notable interview was on a channel called Daniel Cito. You can watch the full conversation there. The interview was fairly relaxed. The host asked some questions but didn't challenge him much. Then again, with Dr. Umar, that's usually the only way to get through an interview. Push him too hard, and he'll likely walk out.
The paperwork from the bank telling us that they will no longer offer us their services, that's on paper. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that that was done on purpose. I think that whole thing was a conspiracy to strip us of our buildings. You wait all this time to try to sell our buildings for an old bill, and you do it as soon as the accounts are frozen. And don't tell us nothing. We raised money for 5 years, and I have no problem with that. It took us 5 years to get to school. I had no problem with that. Should it have taken as long? No. We went through a lot with our contractors. We were scammed, we were ripped off, we were robbed.
Things have to be redone because certain parts were missed during the initial repair. Let me share a brief example. I once worked at Target, specifically the Oakland Emeryville branch, when the store went through a 6-month renovation. It was a major corporate project, and their goal was to complete everything to perfection. Now, I'm not saying Dr. Umar operates like a corporation, but let's imagine qualified contractors were hired for the task. When those contractors finished, they didn't need to come back. Although the renovation was scheduled for 6 months, it was actually completed in about 5. Once the final piece was installed, the job was done. No repeat visits or rework required. That's what professionalism looks like. So when someone says repairs are needed again because things weren't handled correctly the first time, it reflects poor workmanship. Honestly, it gives the sense of disorganization or being overwhelmed. Taking 5 years just to gather funds is a long stretch. Dr. Umar has received public attention and backing for quite some time. 5 years of fundraising followed by another 5 years to locate a school. That timeline doesn't make sense. Perhaps those with expertise in school construction can clarify, but from my perspective, the numbers simply don't add up.
I'm not giving no more date because every time I gave a date, we never met the date. And the reason we never met the date is I was depending on a contractor. And so when they betrayed the date, we had to betray the date.
Ties to that, he's building a school in Nigeria.
Okay, I know he is.
And
I'm ready.
During that time, everybody was attacking him, telling him he's scammers, he's scammers, he's scammers, he's scammers. To dispel the haters, he gave full financial transparency and told everything that was going on. Can you give full financial transparency?
I can, but I wouldn't.
Okay, why not?
Because the only people we are accountable to are our donors. If you're not a donor, we owe you nothing. We are not a publicly funded school.
Would you do that to the donors?
Sure, my donors, yeah.
Among all the donors who contributed money, imagine one giving only $10. He'd likely make a scene saying, "Brothers and sisters, here's someone who gave just $10. And then start questioning the financial management. But there's a catch. Only those who donated $500 or more are granted access to financial details. Everyone else is kept completely in the dark. There are probably many donors who wish for full transparency about how their contributions are used, but that's never going to happen. In reality, a large portion of the money is spent on personal needs, fast food, groceries, and daily expenses. Yes, some of it goes toward the school, but that's mostly for show. The illusion of progress must be maintained to keep the donations coming. The whole system operates like a money-generating scheme. Why would he want to finish the school? Once it's complete, the donations would slow down. People would start demanding results, actual students, accountability, and a functioning institution. As long as the school stays unfinished, the cash continues to flow.
The donors have been there through the whole ride. It's the haters who have all the questions, and the haters don't matter.
Do you believe that there are any people that do doubt you that might be valid, like logically conclusive, like they're not just haters?
If you have never donated to the FDMG Academy, you can ask all the questions you want, but we owe you no answers.
Okay, what about the ones that do that still doubt?
I don't know of any donor who doubts. 99% of our donors are repeat donors. I even know their names. We never get one donation. People donate to us over and over and over again, so if they had questions, they would ask. The people asking the questions are haters who don't donate. I pay them no mind. See, the issue is they want me to be accountable to people who don't support us. I would be a fool to do that. I don't know of no corporation in America that say, hey, come look at all of our paperwork, all of our financial transactions. Nobody does that. This is a business. And when you have haters like I have, you got to protect your interests and protect your business. So I don't care what they say. It's all about divine timing when God is ready for the school.
Then he starts talking about divine timing, prosperity, and Pan-African unity. The same familiar phrases he always uses. He's what I'd call a keyword manipulator. Whenever he finds a phrase that stirs emotions, he repeats it endlessly. That's his method, mastering keywords to keep people engaged. You often see individuals like him walking the thin line near false prophets. Anyway, let's look at his complete breakdown in the bathroom. We showed a short part earlier, but I'll have to blur most of it because it's a total disaster, literally. This is the same school he's urging parents to send their children to. It's shocking. The place is incomplete, disorganized, and nothing like what he promotes. And somehow, this is his source of income: live streams and constant rants. It's unclear how he manages to make money that way, but let's take a look at how he does it.
Hold on, we coming, and I'm your history teacher. I'm your Pan-African Studies professor. Oh, yes.
I just want to highlight this strange mix of cleaning chemicals here. It looks like there's some Fabuloso, a bit of bleach, and what seems to be acid, the type used for heavy bathroom cleaning. Fun fact, years ago, some kids would take that same strong toilet acid, pour it into bottles, add foil, seal it, flip it, and wait for it to explode. Of course, that's extremely dangerous. Never try it. Anyway, this setup looks more like a science experiment than a cleaning job. That's not a safe or proper way to clean. It could cause real harm. Thankfully, there's no foil around this time. And honestly, I hope it wasn't a man saying that. Please tell me it was a woman. Someone who donates just 10 cents really shouldn't be making comments like that.
Y'all complain over everything, cry over everything. Somebody got tissue in the toilet, didn't even flush it.
To whoever spilled paint into my toilet on painting day and didn't clean it, I'm genuinely disappointed. How could anyone let paint get into a brand new toilet? Seriously, who reaches into a toilet with bare hands to scrub it, then uses that same dirty water to wipe the outside? If that's something you've done, you might need serious help. He's literally cleaning with his bare hands instead of a proper brush. And even then, the stains and marks are still visible. It's honestly one of the most unpleasant things I've seen. But here's the thing, I don't think Dr. Umar has lost it. I think he's just being strategic. Showing himself cleaning like this makes him appear humble, which could attract more sympathy and in turn, more donations. Now he's debating whether industrial toilets should even have lids, calling out to brothers and sisters for opinions. Paint marks everywhere, incomplete cleaning, total disorder. Seriously, don't sit on those seats. You'll regret it. That's exactly why I avoid public restrooms. I'd rather wait it out. Anyway, he eventually moved on to a bigger podcast, The Danza Project, where he continued sharing his usual talking points. Let's check that out next.
Before we get into any type of conversation, I want to know where you're at, because you're constantly working, and when I mean working, you're doing a lot more than most.
Yes, sir.
Right, like
Yes,
it's
sir.
not just the conversations that you're
Right.
having on podcasts; it's the works that you're doing in the communities.
Right.
The conversations that you're having with the youth and with people in general. Where are you at mentally right now? How do you feel?
I guess for me, the one thing that I just want to finalize is the renovations on the FDMG Academy. You know, we've been almost done for so long, and now we're at the floors, but I'm still scared to say we done, because every time I say we done, something else comes up. So, you know, I ain't been saying nothing. My thing is, when it's done, that's when I'll announce it. You know what I mean? I was supposed to go back to the Breakfast Club, and I text Charlamagne, I said, I'm not coming back up there one more time to tell people we almost done. You feel me?
Yeah.
When we done, I'll schedule with you. I'm not going up to Power 105 again until we done. I'm tired of saying it myself.
Absolutely.
Listen, this is the problem, because Dr. Umar, he was always, Pan-Africanism, brothers and sisters, we strive together. He was always just that guy. And, every once in a while, people look at him and be like, hey, we'll give him some money. We support this little project he's got going. But now it's starting to get mainstream. And that's the problem, because now you're growing. Everybody knows about Dr. Umar now. You know what I'm saying? But the problem is that there's a lot more eyes now. At first, when maybe it was 5 years deep, there wasn't too many, people weren't as critical. Now everybody's critical. You know what I'm saying? Now he's starting to feel the pressure, because you gotta think about it, guys. What is he going to do for staff? Who's gonna teach these kids? Dr. Umar, think about it, guys. Who's gonna give them lunch? Maybe they could buy their own lunch. I'm not sure what grades they're going to be. Staff, lunch, principal, security, just all this extra stuff after the building is done. The building will be finished if they don't take it away from him. But after that's done, he's going to start begging for money for staff and begging for money for all. It's a never-ending cycle. I promise you.
When we done, that's when I'll do it, man. But we real close. When I fly back home tomorrow, I got to get to the school. They laying the floors now, and once that's done, we'll be applying for our certificate of occupancy. That's going to be interesting because the city has not been our friend. They tried to sell the school behind our back last month for some frivolous expenses that we should not have even owed. So I'm gonna stay positive, but I'm not looking forward to the inspection because, you know, they can nitpick you to death on that.
Absolutely.
You know, so when people say when you're gonna actually be done, that's not in our hands. We have to see what the city says, you know, but I'm hoping after all we've been through, they just say, go ahead. If it's all in order, just pass him.
This whole situation gives off serious scam vibes. The same kind of energy as Akon's so-called Akon City project in Africa. Remember that? He pulled that off not once, but twice. Maybe it didn't happen to you personally, but a lot of people got fooled by it. The whole Wakanda City idea was the same kind of scam, selling dreams that never turn into reality. So do yourself a favor. Keep your money. Take your family out for a nice meal instead of donating to this nonsense. It's simply not worth it. I'm keeping an eye on Dr. Umar because for some reason, his name keeps popping up everywhere. So at this point, I'm fully invested in seeing what he's actually doing, because it's starting to look like a complete joke. If there's still no functioning school by the end of this year, or even by the middle of next year, then it's over. People need to stop falling for this. The excuses and shifting timelines can't go on forever. Hopefully, supporters start seeing through the act soon. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to show some support to the channel.